Hello and welcome to Dungeoneered, a podcast dedicated to discussing Dungeons and Dragons. I'm Aaron.
And I'm Josh.
Let's do this. All right, Josh, so I don't remember what I said in the previous part of the intro, as we've recorded this multiple times now, but this is our new intro.
Thanks to your loud bird.
There she is.
So you said something about you. So you teased me that you were going to do a silly voice, and luckily you didn't.
Oh yeah, I remember now.
So that's what the previous intro was about. You're like, haha, I tricked you.
Yeah, I was going to do some creepy, like, British old lady voice, but then, Josh is like, I'm a party pooper, and I don't like that.
Well, yeah, so let's get into the episode.
just straight, yep, you're right, I'm a party pooper.
No, I just don't really have another thing to say there in that situation.
God. The true personality of Josh is revealed.
Well, this is not important to the episode, but I was watching an episode of Taskmaster today. Amazing show, and all of you should watch it that are listening. It's great. Most of it's on YouTube, and they were trying to make a guy laugh, and they found that one of the people trying to do it found that what he enjoyed most was making other people sad like him.
Wow.
So she made him happy by him bringing her down to his level of sadness.
Now relate that directly to our topic today.
Well, people that also get dragged down.
Yes.
We're going to be talking about the Lord of the first level of hell called Avernus. Now, there might be some spoilers for the campaign Descent into Avernus, the 5e campaign. I don't think I'm going to go into anything like game-breaking or anything that could be too much of a reveal. Most of the stuff I'm going to be talking about was actually talked in like advertising for the actual campaign release, so it shouldn't be too much of a spoiler.
Quick question before we begin.
Yes.
I'm trying to figure out how to word this. Did they make Avernus sound like a furnace on purpose?
The thing is, it was from so long ago. So many, the 9 Hells were made during a long edition ago. So I'm not sure. It might be. I think all of them have names actual like mythological names.
Oh yes, like Oven.
Is that one of the layers of the 9 Hell? I don't think so.
No idea.
No.
No, but it's just trying to think of another word for oven,
so
okay?
it's Avernus, Dis, Minaris, Phlegathos, Stygia, Malbolge, Maladomini, Cania, and Nessus.
Yep. Nope. Sound nothing like any kind of ovens or furnaces, so I think it's just a coincidence.
Yeah, I think it might just be a coincidence. Because I think there's layers of hell that are a lot hotter than Avernus. Now...
Well, yeah, that's why it's only a furnace, It's not like a volcano or something.
Okay, Aaron. So, this Lord of Avernus, or the current Lord of Avernus, is called Zariel. She is an archdevil ruling with an iron fist, trying to squash the Blood War, which we talked about last week, is the war constantly raging between the devils and the demons in hell. And the Blood War. I
remember that.
Yeah, the Blood War is raging on the layer of the 9 Hells, Avernus. Zariel wasn't...
Is Avernus the biggest?
No.
Avernus the biggest one?
I think because it's like a upside down mountain. If you look at like an image of the 9 Hells, so I guess it would be considered the biggest, technically, but I don't think it's talked about in that way. So, Zariel was not originally an archdevil. Originally, Zariel was a Solar. Solars are the most powerful of all of the angels, some even saying that they are even godlike in their power. They serve directly below their deity. Zariel was the Solar of the god Lathander. Lathander is the deity of creativity, the dawn, renewal, birth, athletics, spring, self-perfection, vitality, and youth. Now, Zariel, their duty as a Solar was pretty simple. It was just to track the progress of the Blood War. Because as I said in the last episode, many different people are actually involved in this Blood War. Some obviously, others working in the shadows, and others like the Thandor are simply watching. So if something is going awry a way they don't want it, they can step in if needed. Now, as Zariel watched this war raging on for years and years and years, she became obsessed with it and wished to join it. She wished for the taste of battle. Zariel was impulsive and couldn't hold back her want for war. She begged the other angels to allow her to go and fight. Zariel believed that it was not only her wish for war, but her angelic duty to face these evil beings and fight in the Blood War. She believed that an all-out assault from Mount Celestia, which is where she is, could easily wipe out all sides in the Blood War, both demons and devils. Zariel was repeatedly told, no, do not do this, but she drew the line when the evil Knoll demon Ginogu destroyed a village under Zariel's protection. Zariel headed to the material plane to find mortals because she's been watching both the Blood War and the material plane. And as she saw them, she grew a respect for the ambition and fight of mortals because she knows the apathy that immortals have, and she hates it. And so here are these people with, to her, a very short lifespan, and yet they do so much. She heads to a specific warrior-heavy city and descends as an angel, and she says to them that she wants to train them to be demon fighters with her. And they are all, of course, like, heck yes, and she trains them up. She gathers her army together and heads down into hell. And they kick ass, destroying demons and devils left and right. And it is all... What was that?
No need to just keep going.
Oh, golly, Aaron.
All my people, okay?
And who are your people, for those in the podcast who did not hear our after-podcast conversations?
We don't need to,
who are your people?
We're
who make those noises?
Killing force. That's what we are.
No, who makes that noise? Who do you say makes those noise?
Me?
Okay, let's leave it at that.
My people.
Now, but they are betrayed, and they are sealed in hell. Now, Zariel is okay with this, but many of her army are not, and they run. The ones who remain continue fighting, and over time with this exposure to hell, they are weakening as they are immortals and they can't handle it as well as Zariel.
They should have made a highway to hell, really.
It would connect to the stairway to heaven. Now,
so good.
Now they are, through this decaying army, they are able to defeat the Lord of Avernus at the time, which is Bel, which is spelled Bel. But it comes at such a high cost, with her army fraying and falling apart. The worst happens, and she falls, corrupting her, fully turning herself into a devil. The corruption of hell finally overcoming her. Asmodeus, the Lord of Hell, he sees all of this and sees her as an incredible warrior, and she even had the power to cause the vacancy of the Lord of Avernus. So he offers her a job because she proved herself as a great devil before becoming one. And that is how she became the Lord of Avernus, which then is where all of Descent into Avernus takes place. Now, before I finish this story of Zariel's fall, there's an important thing to note. If the other Celestials of Mount Celestia did stop the Blood War, or any group stopped the Blood War, that would be absolutely catastrophic. That is why they kept forbidding her to do it. The Blood War is the perfect distraction for devils and demons, and it's even set in hell, so it limits the casualties of the material plane. If they did not have this war, they would be fighting elsewhere and causing more evil to be unleashed upon the material plane. So her asking to take it on was just a moronic decision, a moronic ask.
I mean, good thing she failed, you know?
Yeah.
Now, you might not know the answer to this question
Mhm.
before we continue, but are like gods in D&D like way stronger than the most powerful like devils and demon lords and stuff?
It depends, because we talked about in a previous episode, there's a lot of different levels of gods. Archdevils are pretty powerful, but I am almost 100% sure that greater deities are way more powerful than them. But they might be able to defeat lesser deities, and also they are tricksy, and they're smart, so they might be able to outwit them and win some other way. Like, I'm sure there is mythological tales in D&D of archdevils defeating or bringing down.
Yeah, tricking them into some sort of weird contract or something like that.
Yeah, because archdevils are very powerful, but I know they're definitely not as powerful as greater deities. Now, I didn't really want to go into a bunch of like continued lore of the lore of her throughout her reign in Avernus, because she betrays Asmodeus sometimes and then kind of loses her spot, but then gains it back again, and it's all this stuff. And so I thought I would leave it at this of her fall, and then for our topic this week, we could talk about a fallen angel or some sort of celestial that has fallen.
So we get to create a cool fallen angel.
Mm-hmm. Now, if we were just going to create like a basic fallen angel, that would be a devil called a Aaron Yes, which I just wanted to make that clear for anybody listening who wanted to complain that an archdevil is not always a fallen angel. Aaron Yes is technically what if it was just a basic fallen angel, which Aaron Yeses are also super interesting, and we might do an episode on them because they can earn their way back into celestialhood.
So are we creating like a fallen lesser deity or something, or greater deity, or
I mean we could do anything.
Well, obviously, then there has to be some sort of cool corrupting story.
Yes.
Like, obviously, this deity has to be super nice, super cool, and then become super terrible and super awful.
Mm-hmm. Which it could be a trick, as we were talking about previously, of like some sort of archdevil that tricked them. Maybe they needed its aid, but the deal they cut with it was not as good as they thought it was.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much I have
a crazy idea.
All right.
So the idea would be they made a deal with, so they had to save someone or defeat something. And so they went to this archdevil and got aid from them. But the archdevil, its only request, its only part of the contract was that when it was all over, one of its right-hand man had to become this god's right-hand person. And so through that, this right-hand person that moved to helping this deity, every night they kind of slowly cast this ritual to kind of slowly corrupt them. And so it starts out as just kind of like, maybe it's paranoia, but it just kind of continues and continues and continues until they fully fall out of celestialhood.
Okay, this gave me an idea.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, when you think of, this is a question for you. When you think of fallen angel, what do you think of?
Lucifer?
Okay, that's a pretty good one. That's a pretty good one. What if?
Yeah, just some sort of basic angel and not a full-on deity.
So what if we took a different approach than an angel?
Okay, interesting. Like what?
And when I say different approach, like what if we took like a human who is like some sort of conqueror or like, you know, like some sort of paladin of some kind, and he gets himself into trouble and corrupted and then fights his way through the ranks to become like a strong archdevil, fallen angel.
That's cool. I like that.
So I think in order to start, we have to start with like why, like their good side. Who were they? What are they?
So since we're connecting it all in our world, They are definitely a paladin of the brother of the two gods, the one that that kind of goes and creates the angels that kind of protect travelers.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, so this paladin was a paladin of them.
So how did he become a paladin of that particular god?
I think he was protected by one of these angels in a moment of need and danger. He found one of these refuges and was so thankful that he was just like kind of offhandedly like, I will worship you. Thank you for this so much. And then it kind of blossomed from that, where he kind of felt this calling and continued to work towards this.
Okay, I like this, but I want to shift that.
Okay,
so I don't want that to be the reason why he's a paladin, but I want that to be the reason why he fell. So
he was protected, so he fell, or he wasn't protected?
No. Well, he was protected, but let's say say he gained the nickname of some sort, like the Conqueror or something, as he was conquering through like some sort of demon territory, he got overwhelmed and was then saved and protected by some sort of evil entity, masquerading as either his god or some other entity that promised him safety.
Okay, interesting.
So flip the narrative on its head.
So I'm thinking hags, or maybe
I love hags. That sounded weird.
A little bit, because hags are really good at disguising themselves and also corrupting and giving power. And they're fiends, so they're already connected to the hells in their own way already. Could it have been so? So do you think it was a kind of a chosen corruption, or do you think it was like one of the things they did to heal him kind of started this corruption?
I'm thinking it became a chosen corruption. So eventually he just decided to give in to it because, that's where his life ended up going. And he just gave into that. But so instead of shifting this story all the way to the end for him to become corrupted, what if we like shift it towards the middle to where this is like, he's kind of he's still a paladin, but he's not quite like the conqueror status yet. And because of this, like he got saved and then corrupted by these hags.
I have an idea.
He slowly became the conqueror. And
yes, that's what I wanted to say. I kind of want the power that he gained from this to be what eventually makes him this well-known paladin.
Exactly. Yeah. So
yes, that is exactly it. Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah. So we're going to shift it from being the end to in the middle of his story to where he becomes like, he gets saved by these hags or whatever, and they trick him and fool him into save him. And somehow they like connect.
So he really wants power.
Put some sort of seed of corruption. Yeah.
Well, so he wants to save people
into his mind.
Yeah. So he wants to save people. And they're like, have you heard the story of Darth Plagueis the Wise? And you'll never learn it from your god.
Not from a Jedi, you
exactly.
Yes, you were creating Anakin.
Yes, for those of you who are not nerds, that is from the prequels of Star Wars. Have you heard
the best 3 movies of all the series?
I will not have that statement said on this podcast. I will edit that out. That is no blasphemy.
But I will keep grandstanding until it gets through.
Blasphemy.
Attack of the Clones will forever stand as the best Star Wars movie ever. Just makes me inspired just thinking about it.
The writing is just sand. So good.
Sand,
it's rough and coarse everywhere. And it gets everywhere.
It's so good.
Yeah, so I saw us go in that direction, so I thought I had to state that.
Okay. Getting us back onto a more serious note.
Serious? Wait, you're talking? This is Dungeoneered. Serious? Come on.
Oh well, you're right. You're right. Aaron's being the party pooper right now. I should just give into the madness like our paladin friend.
Give into the corruption. So, so they give him power. He wants power. how? So you said they disguise
okay.
it, so they kind of pretend to be something else. What do they pretend to be that he's willing to take power from?
Okay, I think let's back up first.
Okay.
I think we have the basic event, but we need stuff leading up to it to help us inform why he chose this.
Mm-hmm.
Because otherwise, we're just going to be creating a random event that has no real connection to his story.
Yeah.
So, I'm assuming this I'm for some reason I'm picturing this kid as like literally like an Anakin who like grew up in the middle of like a small town, like a tiny town or whatever in the middle of nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, maybe.
And I kind of want that town in the north. I kind of want that town near the corruption.
Okay, yeah. Do you think he like grew up witnessing and seeing that kind of stuff and watching some of these knights like hold off the corruption, and that's what he dreamed about being?
I kind of think that he is far enough away from it that he's not going to see it, but he sees the effects of it because, like, if in times of danger or when it's extremely active, maybe there's a sort of like kind of selected service type thing where adults from his town are literally being forced into service to protect. Yeah, so he doesn't see them die per se, but he sees them not returning.
Yeah. Okay, I like this. I also like this. Like he sees these grandeur of knights that kind of make their way, but he never sees them fight. But he sees like these like patrols of knights that slowly make their way past the village. Maybe stop for a night or two to tell stories about their knighthood.
And so I think
before they go to the corruption.
I think he gets a really wrong
heroic,
idea,
pleasant idea of what these people are.
Yes, so he sees them as these heroes and stuff, but he doesn't understand the horrors of the war because they don't talk about that in their stories, especially to a child. Yeah. And so I think part of what corrupts him is that he was not ready for any of this. He was not prepared for the actual horrors of war and killing and having the killer instinct to kill when needed.
Yes. Okay. So
I think a major thing that happens in his life is that he decides to let someone go because he doesn't have that killer instinct, and they kill someone he cares about afterwards.
No, okay. This is exactly where I'm going. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So he's grown up seeing this grandeur of knights, and even like a false sense of like these militiamen, who like leave out of their town, who are like, we're going to the ultimate honor to fight for our village and our lord and whatever. And they kind of make their way with these knights every once in a while, and few come back, but they're still like they're celebrated. And so he like sees this whole like hero, like die with the sword in your hand type thing.
Yeah.
And he sees how these people are heroic. And so he and let's say like his 3 best friends or something are like, we can do this too. We don't need to live the farm life anymore. I don't need to live in this small town anymore. And so they get together their pitchforks, whatever random gear they can get, and the 4 friends decide, hey, we can make our way into the corruption. We can fight like these guys, like maybe they're like 17, 18 or something, or maybe even younger, and they're like,
I was thinking younger, 15 probably.
15, yes, like we can do this. And so him and his 4 best friends make their way into the corruption. And now we enter into this middle part of the story where he's like a level 1 fighter, where he makes his way into the corruption with his friends. And I like the idea of he had to like let somebody go or something, one of his friends. And I like the idea of like one of his friends succumbing to the corruption, like as they kind of travel in, and they end up like fighting each other.
Okay. So I think this friend should be the one that in the end he lets go, that kills someone he cares about later on.
Exactly. Right.
Yeah, that's cool.
And so as they kind of make their way into the corruption, they all kind of slowly become corrupt, and they end up getting into this fight where one of the friends turns on the other 3, and they end up getting overwhelmed by whatever corruption monsters, whatever we want within the corruption. And he gets saved by one of these, like lamp posts. And I have that in quotations. I'm doing quotation marks, like one of these like safe havens that he thinks is a safe haven. But in reality, it's hags who see a weak mind with the potential to corrupt. And so he's fleeing, trying to run for his life, watching his friends die, as he is then taken into this refuge of this like hags abode.
Yeah, and so is it like an illusion to look like one of these safe havens?
Yeah, probably. Or
Now, I just want to say
okay.
this. So I have been watching Naruto again, and so I could not remember the word illusion. All I could think of was genjutsu, and I'm like, that is not right.
Oh, is it genjutsu?
I was like, what is the word? What is the actual word?
So okay, we need to make this hag eventually too.
Yes.
Write that down in your notes. Make a hag. Write it down.
I mean, you could always write it in episode topic ideas.
Yeah, right. I can totally do that. Yeah, there you go. Look at that. Okay. So what I'm thinking is that somehow, and I don't know if there's any kind of spell or anything in D&D, but the reason it looks like a safe haven to him is because he is a weak mind and he wishes to see a safe haven.
Okay, interesting. Yeah, hags could definitely do that. Could kind of
and
make
like
it
informs them at the same time that this kid is not, like we just don't want to eat his brains, like like
He's not the sharpest barrel in the bunch.
But like it informs them that this person is fooled by whatever spells they have.
Okay, I just gotta say, what in the world did I just say? I think I said the sharpest barrel in the bunch. What does that mean?
I don't know. My brain just
sharpest tool in the shed and like some sort of Apple reference.
In the shed. The sharpest barrel in the bunch.
That's what it said. And I'm like,
but
what?
Yeah, so they see that he's not the sharpest barrel in the bunch. What?
That's the kind of statement he would make. Not the
Honestly,
sharpest barrel in the bunch.
I don't even know if you said that, but if you even if
I think I did. I think I did because afterwards I was like, wait, is that what I said? What does that mean?
Yeah. Sharpest. I'm gonna have to use that from now on. The sharpest barrel in the bunch.
That's gonna be our new chairs and potato wedges.
Potato wedges.
And sharpest barrel in the bunch.
Oh my gosh.
Oh man.
But it it will then kind of inform the hags that they can that this kid isn't they don't just need to kill him or fight him. They can toy with their prey first. Yeah. And as they kind of take him in, they begin to realize that he has the potential to be something.
Yeah.
Good.
He has a high charisma stat, so he'd be a good paladin.
Ooh. Okay, we can do super tropey, and we can say they can see a prophecy of him where it's either good or bad, and they try and they push it along the way towards the bad.
Mm.
So we can go super full on trope if we want. So they can.
I mean, hags are super oriented towards prophecies and whatnot.
Right.
So that totally does. I mean, it doesn't feel super tropey because hags.
Right. And then you could even write it in the lore, write down this prophecy, and that'd be really fun. You could even give it to a player also. And then they find out that there's another person with the same prophecy who's going down a different line. So it's two different paths.
Mm-hmm.
One that your player's on, who's hopefully going to go down the good path. And then, and then the counter of him going down the other path. So you can interject him right there if you wanted. And that'd be really fun.
Yeah, then
they
cool.
have this cool rival type thing going on. But anyways, so they could see this uncertainty in this prophecy. And so they decide to take matters into their own hands and push him down the...
Wait, I actually have an idea. So instead of making it super tropey and just making it a prophecy, what if you make it he's an Azamar, but he doesn't know he's an Azamar? So because...
Isn't that also super tropey too?
Never heard of that before, but possibly...
Yeah, but he doesn't know
he doesn't know
descendant of the god or something Hercules or that type of thing.
I mean, I guess that could be construed as super tropey. But yes, that's the other idea that I was having is because I wanted it to be they somehow knew, maybe it wasn't a prophecy, but maybe it was just he had some sort of potential or just celestial nature about him. And so I was like, how do I do that? And I've been thinking, and I came up with Azamar.
Yeah. I mean, you could also do you could also do that they sense some sort of connection that's forming to a god.
Yeah.
And then they want to sever that and get rid of that so that he doesn't become that.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't have to make it like a prophecy or, like a descendant of a god. You could even do like they sense his connection to the the good god or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So you could do either. You could do something like that. I mean, yeah. What else would you replace with a prophecy or a?
Yeah. Yeah, but I think we got that down, so we can go to the next part. But
Yeah, totally. But so they see that,
yeah.
and they push him down the evil path.
Mm-hmm.
Like they corrupt his mind. They put the seed in his mind of conquest. Yes, at first it's like I'm going to conquer the corruption, but eventually he begins to like. You could go down the route of like, and I guess this is what do you like better? Like he sees the corruption in like men or human society, and so he starts conquering them too, or he just goes completely mad and insane and starts conquering, or what?
Well, I'm not a huge conquering fan. Because I think he needs to spend enough time actually in the religion being the paladin before he gets fully corrupted. So I want it to be like, as you said, a
No, totally.
seed or something
Yeah, totally.
and so I think it's I mean this is what we talked about previously, but it is also very much like Darth Vader, just the idea of saving of I don't want that to happen again. I'll protect people no matter what. Like,
Okay, I have a really good idea.
mm-hmm.
Okay, well, at least I think it is. What if, when him and his friends go into this corruption, um, these hags had witnessed this whole thing and were like creating illusions and stuff to make them think they were fighting stuff. They then give him the power to overcome these illusions, and so he like is able to rush back and save his friends, and then is brought back to the town as a hero, and that brings the seed. Like he slowly starts to become like more arrogant over time. Like I'm the hero type thing.
Yeah, interesting. I like the idea of feeling like I'm the hero, and then maybe him being the big bad in the end or something, where he or at least maybe a mid range big bad where he sees
Right.
whatever he's doing as he's the hero. This is the right path type thing, even when he's way off it doing terrible
Right.
things, but he still sees it
Right.
as no, this must be right. I'm the hero type thing, and so he would be easily kind of taintable
And I
or
think,
confusable with
and this
his
is where I would think,
arrogance and
like
lack
he
of
joins this
intelligence.
church. Yeah, like he joins this church, and this church is, humility, things like that. And he begins to see all this stuff and like, well, I'm better than that. Like,
Mhm.
why? Over time, it's like, why do I need to follow this when I'm the one who's saving everybody? I'm the one who's like, I'm great type thing. Like
Yeah.
I'm the hero, and I don't need this church to guide me.
Mm-hmm.
And he becomes like corrupt. And I mean, I even like the idea of him getting kicked out of the church, to be honest.
Oh, definitely. I think eventually he definitely gets kicked out, especially if I like the way that you're talking about how it's he's kind of seeing himself above the rules of the church eventually. So he gets to a point where he's like,
Right.
I don't have to be humble. I don't have to
Yeah.
like maybe he even starts
I
like
don't have to follow these tenets. I don't have to do this anymore.
he starts like not respecting now the elders or like the kind of higher ups in the church and like all these things, and so he eventually does get fully kicked out of the church, and that's when in his moment
He
of
gets
need
exiled.
he sees the hags again.
Yeah, like they return. Yeah.
Yes,
They
they knew
yeah.
it was going to
Well, even
happen.
okay. Yeah, I mean, so I guess we have to discuss then, like, if he gets exiled, is the exile punishment like he is exiled to the corruption to die? Is it
No.
like
So I don't think the church has that much control. I think it's simply
he just decides that I'm just going to go back and I can conquer this?
they kick him out of the church, and so that's all it is. That's all they have power to do is just say you can't come
Right.
to the church anymore. You're not a part of this.
But does he
But
then
he still
like go
sees himself.
back to the corruption as he thinks like I'm going to go and destroy this myself?
I think what he
And
does is
again?
he kind of has kind of gotten followers and people that believe in him inside the church, and so when he is kicked out, he brings them with him. And there
It's
are
a
other
third.
paladins and clerics and things, and they as a kind of small army, they go out there.
I even like the idea of him. So I like this idea. This is a little too Lucifer, like too biblical to me, which,
Mhm.
I did. I like this idea though. I I would like it to be like he takes like 5 or 6 members of the church. Like
Yeah,
not
I
a
wasn't
lot.
thinking. I wasn't thinking it was super
No, no,
big,
no. But
but
what I'm
yeah,
thinking is he makes his way through all the villages of the land, and I'm the hero, I'm the savior, and he gets this militia, riled up peasant army, and he marches them straight into the corruption to all die.
yes, I was definitely thinking it was a full massacre situation when they go in.
Yeah, so he like brings a few like clerics and paladins of the church that are like go with him as
Yeah.
like, you know, his cult. He's like a cult leader. Like, you know, they're
Oh,
like
definitely.
they're like his little like, you know, his cult minions. But then he just parades through all the lands, like, you know, multiple different villages and towns and stuff. I mean, it couldn't be a huge city because you might run into problems, but
Yeah.
like he parades through all these little villages preaching the
I mean,
we're-
their village
we're
is like
destined to be
his.
heroes.
So
Yep,
he would know how they feel and how they act, and so he, with his high charisma, because he's a paladin, he's got to have high charisma. So he will easily be able to sway them and convince them that he is the going to save them.
Yep. And they
And so
march into the corruption and they get slaughtered.
So I like the idea that because he has this idea of I'm the hero, I'm perfect, nothing can go wrong. This massive failure kind of breaks something in his brain.
Oh yeah, he just
It gives him some sort
this
of
is where he
mental
goes
disorder.
Completely. Yep.
Yes.
This is where he completely just gives into the, you know, to the dark side.
Yeah.
Now the question is, how does he go from completely giving into the corruption in his mind to an archdevil or like a fallen angel?
So I think
Because I really like the idea of him like scaling and becoming really powerful. You know?
definitely.
Okay.
So I think he has to have the task of being a hero, quotation marks, that is actually a bastardization of that idea.
Okay, we've never done this on Dungeoneered. My next suggestion.
Mm-hmm.
But my next suggestion is you have your party kill him as an evil guy, and somehow he's brought back as a even greater entity.
And so he wants retribution, vengeance on the party.
Yeah.
I like that. That's cool. That works. So where did they face him the first time?
Process, yeah, how in the process. Yeah, okay. So how I'd probably do it with them meeting them the first time. Sorry, all my doors, bunch of doors just shut. But
yeah,
how I would either have them see like in the town they start, where he's like recruiting all these peasants, and like, yeah, you'd have to play him slimy.
I have an idea,
so that the party doesn't trust him.
Yeah, so I have an idea that so they see him parading around and gathering people, but he definitely would not be trusted, as you were saying. That's a very smart idea, kind of playing him shady, but not fully like play him dumb as well. Make sure his arrogance.
Ass.
Yeah. Yes. So the party immediately doesn't like him.
All right.
Then I think when the party goes into the corruption, they will find him in like a dungeon or something kind of hidden in there, where he's kind of like cowering in a corner because everybody else has been slaughtered. And when he sees them, he's kind of he's something broke in his brain. And so he kind of just attacks them ferociously. And they realize that this
he's like lost.
Yeah, he's lost it. This dude is not how he should have been. Maybe maybe they even have to fight through a bunch of his
like undead.
Yes,
peasants.
The people he brought. Yes,
yeah.
And or what? So I was thinking. So either they have to fight through these undead peasants, or they're fighting through these undead peasants, and they come across like one or two like a paladin or cleric or something from his like close knit group that is still alive, trying to keep him alive because he's just kind of cowering in a corner, broken, not sure what to do.
Okay.
And so when he sees the party, he blames them for some reason. And so it's just something in his brain makes them, they're the enemies. They did this. It must have been them type thing.
Yeah, like they go in and they see that he's already been here. So like they have to, like, I don't know what the mission would be. They have to go find some sort of corrupt item and destroy it or whatever. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
That's probably how you'd set it up. They have to go in, destroy some sort of corrupt item, get out, for the night group or whatever. So they're in the middle. They eventually find this like tomb or whatever, and they see a massacre, a slaughter outside, dead bodies everywhere of
Mhm.
peasants and humans. And as they slowly get inside, they become undead. Like they've become so corrupt as they died in this tomb, they've like risen and become undead. And
Mhm.
as they get all the way through, like you said, they find like clerics, like a cleric or something who's like trying to like who's who's insane, but there's still like a little bit left that they can tell is normal, and they could have like conversations with him, but like he's still like insane.
Mhm.
And then they get to the end, and in the end, like you said, the paladin is like speaking nonsense, like he's lost his entire mind, and he turns and he like gives some sort of like speech of like, "You're the ones who ruined this for me."
Yeah. I don't
Like
know
you're
what you
the
did, but it
ones.
was you.
Yeah,
You are
you
the
made
taint
this
upon
fail.
this world. You must be squashed. Type
Yeah,
thing.
and then he charges him. Yeah,
Yes.
and roll initiative, like
Yeah.
that type of thing. And the party kills him.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then somehow he gets revived and becomes a fallen angel. But how do we do that?
Well, so I think that's pretty easy. I think that's so his soul is as corrupted by the end of his life that he definitely will go to one of the evil planes, because you go where your soul is most connected, which if you're so against what your deity is about, which you said one of them was humility, he is so against that he would not go to the one where his god is. He would go to where his alignment most fits.
Okay.
So he would go to one of the hells or
I like
abyss
this.
or something, and that's where they kind of are. He's offered a chance at revenge or something.
Okay. So I like this. And I think, I mean, he has to essentially go to the nine hells or whatever to get connected with
Well, yeah. So
some
he can
way
go
of
to the
becoming an
hells.
archhuman.
If he wants to go if he wants to be a devil, he would go to the nine hells. If he wants to be a demon, he would go to like the abyss or something like that.
Right. But what I was also thinking is what would be like, I think it'd be really cool to, when he comes back, he like inhabits his old body, and like say that it cut off his head, but his head is like stitched back on, like he was like killed and his arms were cut off or whatever, and like you can see that his arms are like stitched back on,
Mm-hmm.
and he's become like this weird.
I wanted his skin to like he start taking on a demonic appearance, so his skin goes red. He gains horns.
Yeah, I like the idea of like I think it'd be fun if he had like there's parts of his skin that are like turning red. I really like that idea of like,
and I like him having a tail.
skin. Yeah.
Like he's literally turning into a devil.
No, I do too. I just like. Do we want the party to meet him multiple times, further along the stage?
Are you saying so? No, I kind of want him to be important. Like
a two-time gunner.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I like that better too.
Yeah. So they see him once as insane. Well, actually, it's 3 times technically, but they don't fight him the first time. He's just an NPC. Then he becomes an enemy, and then he comes back as a stronger enemy, as a kind of devil this time.
What is the scope of a fallen angel? Like, can they be just average Joes to deities? Like, what is the scope of a fallen angel? Do they have to be an angel?
I mean, that's what a fallen angel is. It's an angel that fell. But so anybody can be corrupted, which we're not really creating a fallen angel anymore. We're just creating a corrupted person.
Yeah, so the question is, how does he? I want him to be a fallen angel. So how does he get his like deity, his angelhood?
Okay, so then I have an idea. So maybe what would happen first would be maybe he has done enough in his religion, and because he was insane at the end of his life, he is forgiven, and he is allowed into his deity's place.
Okay. No.
But
this gave me an idea.
That's when he gets his angelhood.
This gave me an idea. What if we pull some serious Matt Mercer Critical Role Molly Mock on this?
You want him to come back as a different person?
No.
His body get taken over by a demon?
No, not Molly Mock in the essence of he's a different person, but he has traveled through the corruption in his newly found state after coming back to his body, and he started collecting different items. So maybe the party has to go back in, and they go to this tomb, and the item that they were looking for is gone, or they go to this place and it's not there. and it was supposed to be there type thing. And so they just see these subtle hints of like these things that were, maybe not necessarily super important to their original mission, but like you see subtle hints to like these important things seem to be missing or gone type idea. And he gathers these like powerful relics to essentially make himself a god, make himself an angel, but a corrupted angel. So he's already in the corrupted state as he makes himself an angel and makes himself a fallen angel, essentially.
I'm not sure exactly how that works, but
I don't either.
I like the idea.
I have no idea how that works.
But I like the idea that it's,
Okay. Let's change this a little bit. Let's say, I don't know what a ritual requires for becoming some sort of deity, but most of the time it's killing people. So they hear stories of villages close to the corruption being killed by some sort of person, like a strange knitted together humanoid. There's, when they go back into the corruption, they run into a place totally unrelated to the quest they're going to, but where they see some sort of like sacrificial altar with people freshly killed there. All these random signs that he's been killing people to gain and control power, and maybe even like they're sent in to find some sort of stone that controls power, and there's multiple. Like they know there's multiple, but they're finding one. And when they find him again, he has one of these stones that has been like completely full of power that gave him.
So I think I got something that combines some of our ideas here. So he is this stitched back together Frankenstein person. I think the hags meet him again when he is reborn. Maybe they're even the ones to do it.
Stitching him back together.
Yeah. Maybe they're the ones who did it. Is what the second
keeping his vessel one.
But so one of the things they say is something that kind of makes him believe that his god just didn't hear him, because maybe he fully died and he went to hell and he was so confused by why was I there? Like I shouldn't have been there. And when they bring him back, he has all these questions and he doesn't understand it, and so he just thinks he has to do enough to make his god hear him. And so all these sacrifices and things are things that he believes he has to do to contact his god again. No, he must hear me. He must hear me type thing.
So yeah, I like this. I'm thinking, so a couple things. One, I think when he goes to hell, like his soul, that's like the finishing torment that like completely corrupts him. Like completely. So that's why he goes to the abyss, to the nine hells, is they finish corrupting whatever mind he has left. And they send him back to his body, and the hags are in legion with this. They like stitch him back together to make his vessel returnable, so like his soul can return back to his body, so he becomes this like deformed, stitched together monster. And his soul like re-enters his body. I love the idea of he's like, he needs to contact his god, but I like the idea of him going even a step further to like, my god didn't listen to me and realize how good I was, so I need to become on their level.
I was thinking it was like the god ignored him, so he believes he has to, as you were saying, kind of get on that level, but also kind of my thing was more do enough that there was no way the god could not react and not show, like not physically talk with him again.
Right, like
there's no way you can ignore this.
Forces you, to act to see me.
Yes,
and it's completely corrupt, and he becomes this like horrible corrupted fallen angel because he's gained so much power through all this sacrifice. And like you could easily set, like,
so we talked about how he was stitched back together. Could the hags have stitched wings on him?
I mean, certainly, yeah, you could do it. I mean, yeah.
And so I'm thinking he has Aarakocra wings on him. So in all sense of the term angel, he is a bastardization of that. He considers himself an angel, like he has these wings, he has all these things, but he is in no way an actual angel. Like he is.
Okay, I like this.
It is all this mental belief of I am an angel. I have earned this. But
the only thing I'm afraid of is Aarakocra rings or angel wings might seem silly. So you'd have to like think of something.
What do you mean? What? Well, so I was thinking one of the peasants was an Aarakocra or maybe one of the other. Oh, yes. So one of the when they first go into the dungeon, like the first one before he actually dies, they will find a cleric Aarakocra body that the wings are sheared off, and it'll be completely like it won't make any sense, and they will not find them that time because the hags took them.
No, I like being able to like show the party that he's been doing this just randomly, like throughout the their missions. Like they find somebody whose wings have been ripped off.
Well, so I was thinking this was the first dungeon.
So what? Okay, My worry still is that like you'd have to make it so ghastly and creepy that when they see somebody with like stitched on wings, it's not like a little silly,
I mean, that's why I feel it is. I feel it is creepy and ghastly because they even they will have seen the body at that point.
And like I like the idea, like I really like the idea of like they find a tiefling whose horns have been like ripped out, like ripped off.
Yeah,
and
so maybe that's
sewn onto his forehead.
Yeah, I do like this idea better. I think the idea of him continuing to add things to himself to make him an angel. So they'll see all these sacrifices. They'll see the Aarakocra with the wings cut off. They'll see the tiefling with the horns ripped off. That's really cool. I like that.
Yeah, but I'm thinking that the hags. So the hags are obviously working with whatever demon deities or whatever are behind this whole thing, and I think they put him on these quests to go like maim these bodies as like his first step into. Are you actually fully corrupt and terrible? And so he goes over to like his old friends that have been like may still be alive and like or may not be, and kills them and maims them and takes pieces of their heritage to become this fallen angel, this like stitched together fallen angel.
Okay, so I like to think that the head of the church, the kind of one that kicked him out, they are some sort of celestial. And so
and
he specifically
them and stole their eye.
Yes. Yeah, he steals something angelic from them. Like in Critical Role, they had those Azamars, those kind of blue-skinned Azamars that they found in Hell, and they had kind of those, I think they had weird blue eyes as well.
Yeah.
Like kind of blue glowing eyes. And so maybe
it really depends how creepy you want to go. Do you want him to like rip skin off and like have stitched?
I know. I was going for the eye. I was going for the eye.
Creepy, but I like that too, though.
I was not going for skin. I was going for the eye. But either way, yes, you're right. This is getting creepy.
But how creepy would that be, though, if you saw somebody with like, so say you met this person before he killed them, like the party did, and they like you recognize this like weird stitched blue skin on his parts of his body that's like you can see are literally sewn onto his arms and like different parts of his skin, like patches. That's so gross and creepy, though. Oh man,
that is. It's rough.
And like one glowing blue eye that he also took.
Yes, that's what I was thinking. Yes, I was thinking it was one of these blue glowing holy eyes. Oh my
gosh! So what if there was like some sort of fun like murder investigation that the party did one time, and they go through and like are investigating a criminal murder scene in a city, and this guy's arms were like ripped off or something, and they like find some sort of butcher who's also been killing people or whatever, but it's not actually him. And so
so half of the murders are him. He's like, wait, I only killed 15 people. What do you mean there's 23?
Yeah. Yeah. And like they when they meet him, the paladin guy again, the fallen angel, they like notice that like, hey, you remember that murder investigation that you did and that guy was missing an eye? Well, this guy has like the same eye color as the guy who was missing an eye.
Yeah, that's cool. I like that it's hidden in an investigation where some of them are this guy, others of them are not. And I think do you think they're gonna, so how would it be revealed? Like, would it be you killed, like they're yelling at him, you killed this many people, and then he's like, wait, what? I didn't kill that many people. I killed this many people. Like, how would that be revealed?
What do you mean? What do you mean? Like the paladin revealing, or like the
butcher when they finally catch him revealing that he didn't kill all the people that they thought? How do you see that going down?
I don't necessarily think that he would. Maybe they would kill him and they would like find some sort of creepy murder journal that he has, and there's only like 10 accounts.
They
they might put it up to, well, he just hasn't written other accounts yet, instead of
I like
him
that. I like
directly
that
saying,
kind of a murder journal that they find.
yeah, like some sort of horrible murder stalker journal thing that he's been like following people, and like he has these subjects that he's been trying to
basic
kill.
creepy stuff, Yeah.
Yep, totally. Yeah. Nothing. I don't
Nothing out
watch
of the
criminal
ordinary,
minds.
just basic creepy stuff.
yeah, like that kind of stuff. But yeah, I think that's probably be the best way to do it, because then it's not like him directly saying, I didn't kill all these people, and they're like, what? Like, but they they can easily chalk it up to like, oh, he just hasn't written about these people yet, type thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's good. I like that.
That's so messed. This
creepy. Is really creepy.
He's got like patches of skin that he's like sewn onto himself. Oh,
hey, you're the one who went for patches of skin. I just went for eyes.
I know. Yeah, but you got me all
I went
over
for eyes and wings.
Weird.
Yeah. You went for tiefling horns.
Yeah, I know. And I even like an angelic eye of some kind. Like this,
yes, that's what I was. Yeah,
single eye. It's like bright, and the other one is not.
Okay. This is a really weird one, and I don't know why I went here, but I think it would be a really fun thing to give him. So one eye is this angelic eye, the other eye is a beholder eye, one of the eye stock eyes.
So I want him to have one of his normal eyes, because then there's like a contrast that you can easily make.
Yeah, there's a feeling of
not. Yeah, but I love the idea of some sort of weird other eye attached onto like his hand, or like like onto his not his forehead. I don't like that idea, but I mean,
that's the other I was
forehead. Like he lifts up his sleeve. Yeah, like he lifts up his sleeve and there's like a beholder eye and it shoots a ray out. Like he's like,
yeah,
he like there's this weird like gross stitched together eye that's like slowly moving, but like almost like it's like an eye in a jar, like kind of like this rotting, gross. Just like, and he like lifts up.
Where
his
are you going? This is
rotting,
horrifying.
I don't know, but I'm going as gross as possible, and it, like can shoot out this like death sick ray. Yeah, I love that idea.
Yeah,
dude, my imagination is all over.
But I like this idea. This is horrifying, and
we got to make somebody happy next. I mean,
I don't think that's possible.
Terrible. I don't. Yeah, it's just everything's bad. That's what the party's there for.
They're the good people. Everybody else
just make it so that the party can't be bad because everything else is so terrible.
It's so terrible. Doesn't matter how bad you make your character, you're still better than the world.
You murdered 3 people, but did you take their skin?
Did you take their skin? I got you there.
Gosh.
This has been a gross episode so far.
Oh, but he's such a good bad guy.
It is. He is such a good bad guy. I really enjoy where we're going with this.
So yeah, I think he gets this like weird stone of power, stitches himself all sorts of weird different things. Maybe even like the hags tell him about these different artifacts that he can gather, that like this different artifact of power that requires sacrifice and stuff. Mm-hmm. And then he becomes essentially a deity in his own right.
Yeah, that's cool.
I probably wouldn't put him as powerful as a deity. I'd like
no. I definitely wouldn't. I think
15th,
he's
13th level boss or whatever.
Yeah. Aaron Yes is CR 12. So I'm thinking around there, maybe a little higher.
Yeah, me too. I'm thinking anywhere between 13 and 15 is probably where I'd be trying to put him.
Yeah, that's cool.
In a grand scheme, 20th level campaign.
Yeah. And so I think do you think he's like CR 5 or like CR 7 for his original first encounter with him?
Yeah, I mean, I see this as like more of like one of those sub bosses. So you have like the main level 1 through 3 villain, and then like this tiny little excerpt where he fits in like 4 and 5.
Oh, I definitely thought at first he's unassuming. Yeah, I definitely get that.
Yeah, like maybe they meet him at like session 1 or 2 as like just rando who's like trying to get his army together or whatever. But like he's just those little like sub points that you can kind of like have fun with, So probably the first time they fight him would be like where things start getting interesting, like 5th, 6th level, like where you're not dying in one hit, but you're not killing everybody in one hit.
Yeah.
And he's just an insane paladin at that point. And then, 8 to 10 levels later, here he is again.
Yeah, that's cool. I like that.
Yeah, and you've seen like traces of it, but not quite being able to register.
Mm-hmm.
But as I've experienced before, sometimes piecing your entire main campaign together like that can be like the players don't like remember or get as interested because like like the main story is too hard to follow type thing. So you have to be careful with that. That's why I'd like him to be like a little sub boss.
Yeah, I definitely wasn't thinking it was going to be some huge point, but he pops up again, and it doesn't feel like it's forced.
Yep. No, totally.
Yeah, this is a really cool story and really unique and fun. Well, I feel like that's a very natural stopping point. So I think
that's pretty good.
Yeah, I think that's it's pretty good. Episode 16 of Dungeoneered.
Yeah, and I mean, again, before we end, you definitely have to play him. Is definitely not the sharpest barrel in the bunch.
I was going to make a. I was definitely going to bring it up. I was waiting for you to stop so that one of my favorite podcasts is called Sawbones, and they one of their episodes
to the episode.
One of the episodes they did was I haven't actually listened to it, but it talks about when people used to, as a medical procedure, do drilling holes in people's heads, and so now they end every all their episodes by saying, and always remember, don't drill a hole in your head. And so I was going to bring up now remember, don't be the dullest barrel in the bunch. But I don't know. Maybe I'll throw that in next episode. But for now, thank you for listening to this episode of Dungeoneered. See you next time.
Bye.